because I knew this was a life-changing experience. I knew this would be it, and it really was. I mean, attending that high school with all of you really changed my life. I absolutely went through, transformative identity awakening through movement, music, and sound. It's actually how I remember things. It's actually how I think. So there's an amazing power getting to know your inner self and learning how to use it and not fight with the world. If you know what makes you happy, your personality, interests, and capabilities, just use them and everything else flows beautifully.
It's me, Tracy, and when I get on the mic, you know we about to have a good time tonight. Real talk, real growth, that's a fact. So go ahead now, sit back and relax. Hanging with us, you'll see that nothing is impossible, because together we become unstoppable. You know that taking action is the objective, so get ready for the Breakthrough Collective.
This is the Breakthrough Collective, where your story matters, your courage counts, and your next chapter starts now. Ooh, today's a good one. I am joined by Dr. Bilal Polson. Okay, so he is a principal, he's a mentor, and he's a champion of equity in education. From his early days in the hip-hop world to leading a school with heart and vision, his story is one that is full of transformation, process, and, creating opportunities that last a lifetime. So, Bilal,
What's going on,
what
Tracy?
is going on?
What's going on, sis?
5, 6, 7, and 8.
5, 6, 7, and 8.
So Bilal and I have known each other for 505 years.
Listen, since 9th grade, freshman year, we were 14.
But I'm only 16, so how did that happen?
Well, listen. You know how
Okay, you want to say anything to the audience?
I'm just happy to be here. This whole idea of the Breakthrough Collective, I love it.
It's
So
good stuff.
I'm really interested in having this conversation with you, sister.
Well, listen, let's dive right in.
Let's go.
Okay, so, I have my questions here. So, as I mentioned, we go back to Performing Arts High School, right?
Yes.
The
LaGuardia High School. High School
Well,
of Performing Arts.
it
And
became
the dance department.
specifically the dance department.
Okay.
And as you know, it's a space for like creativity and just growth. Now you're leading a school of your own.
Yes.
Bilal is a principal. And tell me, what stands out most to you from those halls, and what is your fondest memory?
Oh, of high school?
Yeah.
It was just being in that space with all these other artists and creatives. Of course, it was the famous, Fame School, but it was just being in a space where we could create, learn, and it just was fun. We lived in joy, and honestly, it just kind of let me know what school should always be.
Yes.
I just had, you hear some people talk about their high school experience and they sound miserable and agony.
I hate hearing that. I feel
I'm
bad.
And I was like, I have no idea what that feels like. But I think the other thing is we got an opportunity to choose our school.
Yes.
And fortunately, the school chose us as well because of, again, it's, the audition process and all of that. But I think that had a lot to do with it. Is that we weren't mandated to go to a particular school.
Right.
We actually had a chance to choose where we went. So I think that had a lot to do with it. But again, it was the company that we all kept.
Yes.
It was like minds, like hearts, like souls. So it was just so much innovation and inspiration from our peer group.
Yeah.
To me, that's what the thing was.
I feel extremely lucky to have, all you guys in my life. There's a bunch of us. We're on, it's like 20 something of us. We're all on like a WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Yeah.
And we speak all the time. Or even if it's just like happy birthday and
absolutely just checking in. Or so many of our friends and peers live outside of the city now, outside of New York. So whenever they come in town, that's an opportunity for us to have a family reunion, right?
Exactly.
And we've been doing that for years.
So wait, you mentioned the audition. Was there anything, because you guys, we had to audition and then we had to have a callback. So was there anything about that process that any funny stories or anything crazy? Do you remember the song that you used for the audition?
It's funny because I don't know if you remember this, but did all the genres of dance, but tap was my thing, particularly earlier in my life. And so I did a tap piece. And so, I wasn't really certain if that would be embraced because they do not teach tap.
No.
Right? It was, clearly modern and ballet. And every once in a while they give us jazz, like a little specialty workshop. But so I wasn't really certain how tap would be embraced, but it was of course nerve-wracking.
Clearly it worked.
Yeah. It was nerve-wracking, but it was fun. At that point I had been on a lot of auditions, but that one just was different because I knew this was a life-changing experience. I knew this would be it, and it really was. I mean, attending that high school with all of you really changed my life. My trajectory has been very different, my frame of reference, just everything.
And I think it built confidence for us.
Absolutely.
And prepared us for the real world because our teachers, come on, Mr. Keenan, all of them, like,
Keenan,
they were not, the kids now would have never survived.
I'm not sure. I think I had a lot to do with, I think, again, as a principal, I reflect back of the teachers and how exemplary they were. And you know what it was? It was like, they were tough. They were all school. They were traditional, but they also adapted to us. They knew.
Each child was different.
Right. And they knew what we needed.
Yeah.
And they knew how to push. Because think about it, right? Think about our cohort. Our cohort was diverse, right? And you had some people with, a lot of experience and traditional experience and even some performance, right? And already in the business working. And then some not, right? And that they would give notes and feedback based on who was in front of them.
Yes.
Right. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they would adapt to the students now. I think they would be fine.
Yeah.
If they had to do then and now, they would be like, oh my goodness, what a vast difference. But they were exemplary. That those teachers we had now that that I'm really entrenched in teaching and learning on it every day. I'm like, wow. You know what? Our teachers were really dope.
They were. They were the best. So you changed your name in high school, right? Stepping into a new identity, a new worldview. Was there a specific moment that catalyzed that transformation?
So what's interesting, and I don't think you know this, I didn't.
He's spilling the tea. He's spilling the tea.
No, I didn't change my name, right? I've always had that name. However, it was the spiritual systems that I studied. It was really in alignment with my family tradition and lineage. Okay. With my father, my parents, my mentors, my godfather, that I decided to embrace the name Bilal. It was one of my middle names that I wasn't using when I entered the school.
Okay.
And so I absolutely went through a transformative identity awakening from freshman year to sophomore year, 9th to 10th grade. And it had a lot to do with our peer group in school and out of school, where the level of consciousness was just, rising, not just from a mental standpoint, but spiritual and a humanistic standpoint. So it was definitely an opportunity for me to identify with a part of myself that I hadn't up until that point. So I really embraced Bilal. And it had a lot to do with my godfather, Bilal Abdurrahim. He was an art teacher and a jazz musician from Brooklyn. And he was a part of that whole Brooklyn restoration movement. And he, along with my Aunt Rakia, peace be upon them, Aunt Rakia was a part of the founders of Dance Africa. So the whole thing was Baba Chuck going to the continent, learning, the traditional material and bringing it back and teaching it to different dance schools. My godparents were a part of that. And the whole Pan-Africanist movement in terms of going back to Africa as Americans was, something that they did. So it had a lot to do with that. And me just learning more about the name Bilal, it was the prophet's best friend. He was the one who made the call, Hadan, Mount Hira.
But also you felt comfortable, because I think that if you and tell me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
maybe if you didn't feel comfortable with your peers at school, not you personally necessarily, but like some people might not have felt comfortable enough with coming back with that new name.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was about the family that we established. It was about, really establishing identity.
Yes.
Um,
Because everyone immediately embraced that change.
yeah, I mean, because that's the love that all
Yeah.
of you, had for me and you have for people. I think that was just our crew.
Yeah.
It's just how we embraced each other. I mean, yeah, no one missed a beat with that. He was like, okay,
Okay, here we go.
That's what
Got
we're
it,
doing.
Bilal.
Right, exactly.
How you spell that?
Right,
Got
exactly.
it.
And so, as I, grown in myself, that is the name that I use professionally.
Yes.
However, all of my names are on my IDs and
Got
passport.
it. All right.
you
So
know?
it wasn't a legal change. It was already there.
Yeah, it wasn't. It actually changed. It was a highlight, embrace,
Yes.
and a centering.
Oh, okay. Can you repeat that?
A highlight,
Highlight. You
embrace,
better embrace it.
and centering.
You better be center.
Okay.
I love that.
Yes. So
Okay,
that's what
I might
that
have to
was.
steal that. No.
Listen, it is to be stolen.
Okay, so when we were in high school, so I don't know if you guys know, but my favorite rapper is Rakim. I want to say that
As
he's
it should be.
everyone's favorite rapper. Even if they say that he isn't, they're telling fibs. But that's a whole nother
Right,
episode,
very important.
right?
But good. Yeah, that's another episode.
So
Good.
I came in one day and I came to Bilal and I was like, Bilal, I heard this song. I know you got soul. And I need to learn every single lyric. And without even no hesitation, he was like, I got you. And back then, that you had to.
It was no Rap Genius then.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
no Google. It was.
You were not Googling lyrics.
No.
You had to like press play and then write down and then rewind and then write down. So he came in with all of the lyrics and I thank you from the bottom of my heart because I was obsessed.
Yeah.
Okay, so that act of service through hip hop meant everything to me. So from memorizing Rakim's verses to working as an A&R to now shaping young minds as Dr. Bilal, how has music been the through line that shaped the educator and leader that you are today?
Well, it has everything to do with it. There's this thing that I often have posted about and written about. This thing called textile lineage.
Wait, say it again?
Textile lineage.
Okay.
And it really comes from, Tatum, who is a scholar out of Illinois, who really wrote a lot about this whole textile lineage piece. And that came from Hakeem Maharabuti. And because Hakeem Maharabuti wrote this whole idea of how books are like a language, like a new language that's like a new musical language for him. And so, and this idea of there being one particular book or text that sparks a whole new thinking in many other books, a textile lineage. So for me, it's Autobiography of Malcolm X, which led to Autobiography of Ashada Shakur, and then many others. Introduction to African Civilization, Destruction of Black Civilization, Stolen Legacy by G.M. James and J.A. Rogers, Superman and Man. So how that connects to music is this whole idea of a sonic textile lineage. And so for me, it's this whole idea of what was that record? What was that song that transformed your life, right? And for me, it's actually two. It's Funky Drummer, James Brown, and it's Soma Kusa. Mano Dibango. So both of those, I remember, and I'm going to be actually giving up the tea of how old I am, right? Which is completely fine.
But whatever he says, I'm 10 years younger.
Exactly. So in 1972, when Soma Kusa came out, I remember I was on my block in Long Island. I never forget it. And I remember all the teenage boys, they were playing this song. And I just remember it, you know, the Buddha Records label, they knew I loved to dance even as a 4-year-old, right?
Right.
They's like, I wonder what little man's gonna do with this. And so I remember the affinity that they had for me, the confidence that they had for me, the support. They were teenagers. I looked up to them. I was like a baby, right? And so that always stuck to me. So through movement, music and sound is actually how I remember things. It's actually how I think. You know, some people remember things through pictures. I remember things through song, right? So when you talk about music, sonic lineage, it has everything to do with my leadership. It has everything to do with my thinking, because everything connects to music. There's so many ways in which you can connect to people, connect to ideas through songs, through records. So
it's telling a story.
It's always telling a story. So yes, so that's how I lead. I lead and I think and instruct through music, through songs, through ideas, and I always love learning about a new music. And it mentioning, you know, Mono Dibango and Somakusa, one of the things that I thought about, because one of my favorite genres of music is Afrobeat. I love Fela, right? Upside Down is my joint. So when I thought about Somakusa, I was like, oh, wow, you know, that's probably one of the first Afrobeat songs, right? Before it was even called that, as far as I knew, right? And at least hit that was international, because we know Fela had been killing it since the late 60s, right? And then, so I recently, you know, traveled to Ghana, first time, you know, on a continent this summer.
Love it.
And I became acquainted with this musical genre that has been around the whole time, but I just learned about it. It was called High Life. And the High Life music is actually what I learned where Afrobeat came from and derived. So, you know, what I was thinking was just Afrobeat was also a part of High Life movement. And I did not know that. I thought that was a new thing that I just learned about, but no, it's been around forever. And it's a whole movement. So it's High Life and then Afrobeat, because I also learned that it was Fela's drummer, right? Thinking of a funky drummer, that actually started this movement. One of my close partners, DJ Talim, we were having this conversation just yesterday about how that whole genre derived. So yeah, that's a lot of how my thinking is formed. It's through music and through this whole idea of sonic lineage, textual lineage.
So wait, when you were in Ghana, did you get a chance to go to any schools, or did you get to?
So actually, that was the reason why I went. I went to visit Ghana to present at a conference, Ghana ACD, with my superintendent, Dr. Akil. We presented there, and then also I got a chance to visit 2 schools. One in Kinkasu. And a village just out of Kumasi, and then another school that I partnered, our school, Northern Parkway School, along with California Avenue, partners with a Chinakram school, which is a small village just outside the city of Kumasi. So what I've learned about, you know, Ghana is that the major city is Accra, and then there's another city called Kumasi that's, you know, it's like a 5-6 hour drive, only 40 minutes in a plane. And so we went to their graduation. So I went to go visit one school where our school was able to raise money for a borehole so the children have more access to fresh water there. So that was the beginning of the trip. Then presented at the conference. And then after the conference was done, we all traveled to Kumasi, to the small village of Chinakram, to attend their graduation. So I did get a chance to see 2 schools.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I want to see the pictures. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure they were so happy to see you there. And did you speak at the school, or did you do just kind of?
So the first school we presented, you know, the money that we were, you know, all our schools and families, I mean, all our children and families were able to raise. So I was able to connect with the kids directly. That was more informal.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was my superintendent. She actually did the keynote address. And then they also had me say some words.
Okay.
Yeah, because one of the things that I'm really proud of with our project, Northern Parkway and California Avenue, we used Faith Ringgold's work, Tar Beach, as our mentor text to connect with the kids there. So our third and fourth graders connect with their third and fourth graders, sharing family traditions. And we used Faith Ringgold's.
Like a pen pal.
Yes.
Okay.
Tar Beach. And we started a quilt. And then we brought it to Ghana.
And you presented it to them?
Presented it to them. So we finished the children finished one side. Now they're working on the other side.
Oh,
they also wrote letters and postcards. So it was a full exchange.
Yeah. I love that. I'm so glad you had a great experience.
Amazing experience.
Love it. Okay, so your A&R background means you know how to spot raw talent and develop it. How do you apply that same ear for potential when you're walking through your school halls? And what did you learn there, and what influences you on how you make decisions as a leader?
So it's funny you mentioned that. People ask, often about, wow, you were in the music, first, you were a dancer, then you were in the music business. And then, now you're a school leader, you're a teacher, and now you are a principal. And, do you see, what is the distinction? And I said, honestly, being in the music business completely prepared me for being a school leader.
How so?
And I will say, listen, running a school business is just like running a record company. And I'm going to tell you how and why. So the children, their families, and the curriculum are the music.
Okay.
And the teachers are absolutely the artists. And so just like with any artist, with their crafts, they're creative, geniuses and vessels. So there's going to be ups and downs and all kinds of things going on. And as a school leader, just like I was a music executive, I have to manage that. I have to support that. And I always tell everybody, at the end of the day, the audience only cares about the product. Like, listen, that's my artist. You said the album was coming.
Yes.
Where's the video?
Is it dropping?
And they do not care about what happens to get to that point.
Yeah.
So when people say, how do you deal with this or that? Or, when teachers are super happy or when they're super sad or mad, I'm like, listen, it's always being in the gap, in the space for our people to deliver. I heard you in one of your earlier podcasts talked about, leadership is about service. That's completely what it is for me. It's about giving. It's about serving. It's about service leadership, right? So this whole idea of being there for the whole faculty and the staff, for the children and their families is all what it's about. And so, it's very much like running a record company. It's like, you got to make those donuts. Nobody cares. And be in joy. Because at the end of the day, it's like, think about it. We're making records, right? Like, we're making records. And
you're changing lives at the school.
And so at school, it's like we're teaching and we're learning. We're learning. We're getting to grow every day. And knowing that every moment of time in school is opportunities, not just to change the lives, but to change the world, right? So our children at Northern Parkway, which is a pre-K to 5 school, elementary school, the goal, the vision, the mission there is for each child to know that every day they go, they're not only improving and developing themselves, but they get an opportunity to change their world, their family's world, and the global world.
I love that. And I witnessed you at your school, so
that's right.
You're amazing. He's amazing. He's fierce. And you call your students scholars, right?
Scholars. Scholars, students, sometimes the children.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And why do you choose scholars?
Because listen, Goldie Muhammad really laid it out for us with cultivating genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with every child, there's absolutely a genius. There's a scholar. They're learning, and they're really an expert of their lives, of their crafts.
Yeah.
There's so many things that we learn from children that we have to pay more attention to. So yeah, they may not be a scholar of what we know, but they're a scholar of what they know, and we need to get acquainted with.
Yes.
There's so many things about their lives that we really need to learn more about. And really, for me, that's always what the goal is. Our goal is to learn more about the students, their families, so we could serve them at the highest apex.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's not an easy thing because your artists, your teachers are dealing with anywhere from 20 to 30 kids and different personalities and trying to make sure that they cater to each child and make sure that they feel seen. So
Yeah.
That's not an easy task.
It's what I call a nice challenge.
Yeah. That's a challenge. There's several breakthroughs.
Yes.
On a daily basis, I'm sure.
Listen.
Okay. So congratulations are in order because you received the NCTE Advancement of People of Color Leadership Award. Okay.
Correct.
So you were showing out trying to get gold stars. What did that recognition mean to you personally, and how has it shaped how you lead at Northern Parkway?
Well, yeah, it was a pleasant surprise. I had been working with the National Council of Teachers of English since about 2010. That was the first time I presented at one of their conferences in Orlando as a very new and young researcher. And for me, because education, teaching, and leadership, educational leadership was a change of career for me, and even starting off as a phys ed teacher, being acquainted with the largest literacy organization in the world meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Right. So the fact that and again, it's the National Council of Teachers of English, is really a teachers organization, and definitely, administrators are part of it because we're all teachers.
Yeah.
And we never stop teaching. But those in the classroom, that's what the organization is for. The fact that my voice, my ideas, my work has always been embraced by the organization meant a lot to me. So to get that particular recognition was really heartwarming. But for me, it was really a testament to the work of my faculty and staff at the school, the children and their families, because it's really their work that I get a chance to put a spotlight on. And, as a part of that, I get a recognition, some recognition as well.
Does the organization choose, or do the teachers choose, or?
Oh yeah, they have a committee that's comprised of various members, and the membership is all practitioners. So, and I think that's part of what it's been. I've been able to forge some amazing collaborative relationships working with NCTE, with a lot of teacher educators on the collegiate level as well as the classroom. And those researchers love working with principals because they get an opportunity to get in schools and put theory into practice. And so I think as a researcher practitioner, I think that was a part of the thinking in the selection for that particular award. So I'm very grateful. And to be honest, and I also have to include, it's also a testament to my family, to Patty and Alyasha and Malachi, is because it's really family effort. I learned so much through them, and them allowing me to do the work I do and to travel and stuff like that. I'm immensely grateful.
Yes, and the partnership and leadership at home.
Absolutely. And trust me, I continue to learn things about leadership at home. That Patty don't play. You already know.
It's not a game for her.
At all.
At
ever.
oil.
Ever.
Okay, some of you have been wanting to start a podcast, but aren't sure of your next step. Well, I got you covered. I have the perfect course for you. My 7-figure podcast. You'll be learning from podcasters who are killing it, professionals sharing their experience and insights, and hanging with podcasters just like you who need a safe space to grow. I'm a member of the community as well, so I'll be learning with you. If you have a goal of starting a podcast or want to improve one that you already have up and running, join us so we can make this money together. I'll leave the link in the bio. Now back to this episode. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. In a school with high needs and a mission around social emotional learning, and how do you create those breakthrough moments for students who never see themselves as a champion and or might not even know that they are even stuck yet?
So I'll say this. When we talk about high needs, right? Yes, high needs in terms of resources that are social, emotional, and availability.
Yeah.
Not so much as tangible resources, because fortunately Uniondale School District is in a fortunate scenario where, because of where it's situated, proximity in terms of industry, schools,
Yeah.
particularly public schools, are funded through tax levy dollars. That and federal aid, we're able to benefit from. So in terms of high need, yeah, there's children and families that need support in ways in which are traditional and not traditional. So, and when you talk about, children knowing their potential and their greatness, it's also a dichotomy, and diversity is there as well.
Yeah.
So you have some of our children who have very high self-esteem.
Yeah.
Right.
The confidence is
right.
on fleek.
What? Through the roof, to the point where we have to tether that.
I'm the best. My mom said I'm the best.
We have to tether that. And then some that really struggle with, really being clear about that. So, when we talk about equity and we talk about, culturally relevant teaching, being responsive and sustaining, it's not only having the books there that reflect the children,
Yes.
but it's also knowing the meanings behind that and allowing the children to take deep dives of not only digging into the story, learning about the authors of the story,
Yes.
and then letting them know that they too have a very important story to tell, right? So it's through those ways, and then just providing a lot of opportunity for children to showcase their talent, which is immense. So we flourish in debate. We have a robust music program. It's funny when we have our concerts. It's one of the things that I ask the audience members to do is to actually count how many children are in the chorus. And I think last year we had like 143.
That's a lot, because what, you have like 600 something students, right?
Yes. So think about it. So it's like a good portion of the audience is actually on the stage. Our band and orchestra is also robust. Sometimes I think the orchestra had like 60, sometimes 80 students.
I love it.
And our band is large too, with 40 or 50, sometimes 60. So
and is your school K to 5?
The pre-K to 5.
Pre-K to 5.
Pre-K to 5. And we have all types of clubs. And so it's providing a lot of opportunity for the children. And then also honing in on, and I'm going to go back to it, my sis Goldie, one of the first pursuits talks about identity, right? And this idea of being able to identify, yourself in the curriculum, in the teaching, in the teachers, is so important. And every child knows that there's a greatness in them. And then the other thing is, in terms of how we think about teaching and how we think about learning, is that depending on the lesson
Mhm.
and the unit, and the content will determine how well someone may do. Now, of course, we
Okay.
have those children that just kill everything, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes somebody may just be a writer, or they just have
Mhm.
they're a ferocious reader, or this whole idea of solving, problem solving, and their numerical fluency is impeccable.
Mhm.
They're finding niche, or they're like, oh wow, they have a niche for science, right? They
Yes.
love STEM, or they're really, a techie. There's a place for every child. And so depending on the lesson in the
Mhm.
unit, certain kids may flourish. So certain kids who you think traditionally, oh, this kid is just bright, they get everything. It might be a particular lesson that they're struggling. So guess what? That's an opportunity for you to lean in to
Mhm.
them in a way which you typically don't. So that's the mindset that our teaching staff has embraced,
Which is amazing.
and our children, our families have learned to know that and embrace that.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the things that makes Northern Parkway really special. And and the fact that I've been there for a little while now.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
15 years or
Well,
more?
no, over 17.
Oh, see,
I
my
got there.
math is wrong.
Yeah, I got there early. Uh, it was like 2007, December 2007. I started there, and I
Oh,
started off as the assistant principal, and then in 2016 they appointed me as principal. So this year, really grateful to be in that space. Love
yeah.
it. I'm one of those people that runs the work. Sometimes I'm there. You know, um, you know, too long,
Too long.
right?
Well, because I was going to say that, and we kind of touched upon this earlier, that it's hard to, when you have 20 to 30 students and the descriptions that you just mentioned, for a teacher to try to figure out what's Sally's thing, what's Michael's thing. That's a lot of work. So I always say that teachers don't get paid enough because
Listen, I mean,
it's a lot going on.
The awards, are diverse, right?
Yes.
And so, it's one of those things that, because I love what I do, and I say most of our teachers really love the craft. And again, it's approaching it as an artistry, Tracy. Right? That's the thing about it. That's why I'm in love with it, and that's why I also look at leadership and teaching as a culture, like a way of life. So I really don't see separation. You know how people like, I turn off. I really don't, because I don't know how to. Same thing when I was as a dancer, when I was in the music business. To me, there's really no turning off. It's like you either in it or immersed, or you're not. So
it's full out, no marking.
Yeah, no marking.
No marking.
No marking.
I love it. Okay, so you recently took your fifth graders to see the Broadway show Buena Vista Social Club.
Yes.
Right? That is not your typical elementary, field trip, right? You kind of bridged your past and your present. So what made you believe these kids needed to experience that level of cultural sophistication? And did you witness any breakthroughs with any of them? What was their response?
Well, it's interesting on many levels. So seeing that show, which is absolutely incredible, it's just so infectious. I mean, as soon as they open up, they get right to it.
They
it's
dive in.
What? It's like I just wanted to stand in the aisle and dance the whole time.
They need to make a dance floor for that show.
I mean, please.
For sure.
Please, that is something that the theater needs to consider.
Yes.
So seeing that, and I told you this, like by intermission, I'm like, okay, I have to bring my kids here, right?
We went to see it together.
Right.
During intermission, he was like, they have to come see it.
Yes. And so the reason why it had everything to do with the story, this whole idea around, the African Latino experience, the colorism that happens, within the culture, within itself. And, actually what my school looks like. My school is comprised of families that come from the continent of Africa, Central and South America, and the Caribbean. as well as America. And the languages that are spoke is definitely English, but a lot of Spanish and some Arabic and other indigenous and cultural languages.
So to see all those people on the stage that look like you in a Tony Award-winning show.
And so what was important was that I wanted our children to see it for multiple reasons. One of the things that I'm really proud of at my school is that Northern Parkway has been the flagship school. We piloted a dual language program about 6-7 years ago. Okay. So the group of students that I brought was that first cohort of kindergartners that started the dual language program.
Okay.
And so for me, my dad was from Panama, so for me, identifying as an African Latino, I'm very proud of that and that heritage. I wanted to start the dual language program because what I noticed about Northern Parkway when I came there in 2007, it was like some de facto segregation going on. When you, according to the classroom, you can say like, okay, this is the gen ed class. This is where all the black kids is. Okay, this is where all my Latinx families are. This must be the bilingual class. So you could see what was happening. And I wanted to interrupt that. So a number of years ago, my colleague, Iraida Bodre, who was my assistant principal at the time, I was new principal. She was new assistant principal. My Dominicana sister from Brooklyn, we both looked at each other like, let's give each other a year. But that next year, we're going to start this program. And we did.
I love it.
And so what I'm proud of, Tracy, is that not only that it was successful, but at least 3 or 4 years later, the rest of the district started to adopt it. And so now it's in all the elementary schools.
I love that.
So the way I wanted to celebrate this particular cohort of fifth graders was by bringing them to the show to see our sister Natalie get busy.
She killed it.
What?
And won the Tony.
And so that was the cool thing about it. We went
right before.
2 weeks before, and I told Natalie and I told you.
Yes.
And I told the children, I was like, this show is going to win multiple Tony Awards.
And did.
And so all our children were locked in.
I'm sure they
watch. So it's like, talk about transformation and breakthroughs.
Yeah.
It opened them up to a whole new thing, not just Broadway, but a new award show. Because our children love award shows, so it's a new award show that that's now on their menu. But the other thing is that, another part of my background that's interesting is that I actually was born and raised in Long Island and Bayshore, Suffolk County. And I moved to Brooklyn, East New York with my grandparents because I wanted to go to school with y'all. Right. And so I needed to be a resident. So I moved in with my aunt and my grandparents. So I had the rich experience of growing up on Long Island and also being raised in Brooklyn. So I have the best of both worlds. And also, as a kid, auditioning a lot, I always was in the city. So many of our children from Long Island don't have that or get that experience, even though they have families from the city that live in the city still. So for many of them, that was the first time from them being in Manhattan, and it's not that far, right? So we got on the Long Island Railroad, and we walked from Penn Station to the theater, and it was such an amazing experience. So it was that, it was seeing the show, it was meeting Natalie and other cast members that
and they got her autograph.
Yes, they absolutely received her autograph, and more importantly, her wise words, her warmth, her hugs. It was just a great experience. So not only they feel like they were at an award-winning show, they met a celebrity, and they were able to connect with the story and the music. You could see how they moved. Like, oh, this is the music my grandpa. This is what I'm
they're probably hearing it in their home.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so the coolest thing to talk about the artistry, a number of my teachers down in the audience, to Alicia Arce, by intermission, she's like, listen, I already have a lesson plan.
Yes.
And I already have a unit brewing.
I love it.
all from just watching that. So when I talk about this artistry with teachers, they don't play.
Right.
Their wheels are always spinning. So no matter what they see, they're able to create a curriculum.
And they're putting their scholars first.
Absolutely. And so this whole idea, like, you know, you're writing a song is like writing a lesson.
Yes.
Okay. And that unit is the album.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The disc.
And exactly. And, you know, when we say the instruction is the performance, but not performative, right? It's in real time. So when you're really performing, anything can happen, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we miss a step, right? Sometimes we miss a lyric, a line, and we just
keep it moving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same thing with the art of teaching and instruction. So you see how we're always making these connections?
Yeah.
And so that's why for me it's seamless. You know, for me, education is just like, it is art. Yeah. It is, you know, and it's entertainment from a true artistry perspective, not from just commerce and glitz and glamour. It's really entrenched in the transformative and cultural artistry. Yeah.
I love it. You are dropping all the gems right now. Okay, so if you look back over your path from a young Bilal in high school to Dr. Bilal now, today, what was a major aha or breakthrough moment that made everything feel aligned?
Tracy, I'm going to take it a step further from high school. I'm going to go back to elementary.
Do it.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because as an elementary student, particularly kindergarten, first grade, I was not deemed in a positive light.
From the educators?
Oh yeah, from the teachers, right? So I was this young black boy with a lot of energy, what they call behavioral problems, that they could
Which is the total opposite of what you are now. You're so laid back.
Listen. It's a journey, right?
Yes.
So I was so clearly, you know, so I definitely have executive functioning gifts, right? I won't say issues.
Right.
I am the poster child for ADHD.
Got
right?
it.
So back then, in them times in the 70s, they didn't have that language, right? They, you know, you was just a badass kid. And so
you need a beating.
Listen, the switch.
Where's the ruler?
Right. The switch was the treatment plan, right?
Yes.
The belt was the treatment plan.
Yes.
So honestly, it was a kid was misunderstood. They didn't know what to do. But I'm gonna tell you was the thing. So the people who were in the gap for me and who supported me were these people. It was my dance teacher. Mary A. Beard, who was the founder of the Vanette's Cultural Workshop in Wine Dance, Long Island. It was her. It was my phys ed teacher, Jean Geyer, who the first time I ever experienced a dance class was in phys ed, right? And it was my principal, Mr. Hall, Alfred Hall. So the joke of it was, whenever I got in trouble, teachers thought they were slick. I'm gonna send them to the principal. Had no idea the principal was my man. So let me tell you how dope Alfred Hall was.
That's where you learned how to be such a good principal.
Listen, peace be upon him.
Yes.
This dude had a piano in his office.
No.
So he would get busy. And so we would have, so sometimes I would dance with him. We would just have fun. And he would send me back. So the joke now is, particularly early in my career, a lot of teachers used to get frustrated with me, like, I'm sending these kids down because they're supposed to be in trouble. Now they come back laughing and something like that. I'm like, listen, they never going to be in trouble with me like that. Now, I'm going to hold them accountable.
Yes.
They're going to learn. They're going to be reflective and they're going to have a plan in place. But all of this get in trouble, what's that?
Right.
Because no child needs to be afraid of their principal.
No.
They definitely don't need to be afraid of me. So what I would say is that transformational experience, and I'm going to tell you, so I told you about my principal, I told you about my phys ed teacher, about providing that dance class experience, but it was Mary A. Beard who literally came into the school to give what we call professional development or professional learning for the teachers, because I was a kinesthetic learner, right? So I had difficulty with word-to-word correspondence and reading, decoding at the time. And she shared with them, listen, there's nothing wrong with this boy's learning. Watch how he picks up this choreography.
Right.
And so it was the language of choreography and dance and movement that she was able to show the teachers that they were able to transcribe into the traditional text that helped my learning at the time. And so she did that, and her being, a tremendous scholar of herself, being, she was talk about Africans in Cuba. She was African Cuban Cubana from Harlem.
Okay.
And she did a lot of cabaret, and she, not only had the dance school, she choreographed a lot of pageants and things like that. Matter of fact, take you down the road, her bestie was my dance godfather, Frank Hatchett.
No.
Yes, from
we
Broadway
love Frank.
dance. Yeah, Frank, the VOP, the vibe.
Yes.
So, and that's how I got an opportunity to come to the city a lot and audition and get in the business as a kid. So it was through her work, and she also tutored me traditionally as well with my reading and my writing. So it was the dance, and then she was able to model for my classroom teachers, and that's what helped me to learn. But I have to tell you, it wasn't until I actually booked a Broadway show in fifth grade that the school district and the teachers actually began to humanize me
and appreciate you.
So I literally have to book a Broadway show.
Yes.
In order to say, oh, he's a good kid. He can learn.
Yeah. So
and I was 10. Yeah, I was 10 at that time. So think about all those years.
Yeah.
Started when I was 5. Okay.
5 years of proving yourself. So she was one of your first mentors.
Absolutely. Lifelong mentor, godmother, peace be upon her. So,
and she took the time to figure out how you learned.
Well, she knew right away because she had me in dance class.
Right. Yeah.
So she watched me on the spot, and she saw exactly, how quick I picked up the choreography, how intuitive it was.
Yes.
Again, it was the funky drummer. It was the soul makusa, right? So
when in doubt, get a funky drummer.
Listen. So, moving towards high school now, all that was a reaffirmation because of all of you, having the same types of kindred spirits, how we all found each other. That's why we're still family to this day.
Yeah.
So
lucky.
So it was that. So what did I notice that's a connecting and learning is that one is that I'm still a lifelong learner and mover. I have to move. Music is always in the central part of my being. When we talk about this whole idea of, sonic, textual, literacy lineage, just, how I'm guided through that. And then also, particularly in high school when we talk about, how I study, these spiritual systems and just getting deep into myself, getting the knowledge of myself and having peers who are on the same pathway, who I'm still, friends and comrades now to this day. How many of those things that I learned then that I'm still calling upon now? Those same affirmations, Tracy, right? That I called on then, I'm calling on now. Those things that I wrote in my journal then are still in line with my goals now. Some, fortunately, many of those things have been able to accomplish, but so many more things I still need to. But just knowing that pathway is still the same, it's refreshing to know that even then I was on the right path, and knowing that I'm still on that path, and that it's always something to learn and to grow from.
So what is, if you're okay with sharing, what is one thing that is in your journal that you still haven't accomplished yet?
I haven't.
If you're okay with sharing.
Being a trillionaire.
Okay, that's still on the list.
That's still on the
It's
list.
still on the list. You're gonna make it happen.
Oh yeah, that's
Okay.
happening.
And then when you do, I need to borrow something. Let me hold something for a minute. Okay, so we kind of touched upon this, but you've been at Northern Parkway, I said, for over 15 years,
Yeah,
but now we have
that's
clarity that it's 17 years.
yeah, a little over 17, but
Okay.
you know,
Well, who's counting?
who is counting?
But that's rare in education, right? So,
For some,
well,
yeah, some like to move around. Me,
Right.
I like the stability.
yeah. And I'm sure they're grateful for it. But what keeps pulling you back to this specific community, and what breakthrough would you say that you're still chasing there?
Well, I think it's of course it's the children, it's their families, it's the faculty and staff that's very reflective of the children and the families.
Mhm.
It's listen, I'm going to tell you how often I'll be in different places and spaces, right? And because Uniondale is a primarily a town and a school district that's many families of color that are Black, Hispanic, coming from different parts of the Middle East and speak varying language and dialects. People like, oh, how is it there? It must be rough. And I was like, actually, it's not. It's lovely. It's beautiful. It's like, oh, it must be. I'm like, it is not. Like,
Yeah.
resources are plentiful. The families are, very rich and in depth with culture, etc. So I love that. I love
you're able to prove
what
it wrong.
Well,
They make assumptions.
Well, and promoting the richness and the goodness that this community is providing, right? And now on an international level, being able to say that as well.
Right.
And so it's continuing that and putting it on a platform where everybody knows, like, you know what, that Uniondale is very, very serious. I mean, listen, there's so many important people and notable people that have come from that community. Cheryl Lee Ralph is a graduate of Uniondale High School. It's just, I would say it's the children, their families, and definitely my faculty and staff that keeps drawing me back.
Because the parents they play a intricate role in children's education. I know that some parents feel like, oh, that's your job,
So I would say this, yes, I definitely always argue, scholarly, that our families are our children's first teachers, our primary teachers. They are the experts, right?
Yes.
However, I will tell you, culturally, there's many families, particularly families that immigrate from other countries. Part of it is for educational opportunities, and from a cultural standpoint, they really trust us with their children, and so it's not like they are trying to absolve themselves from anything.
No,
they really are giving honor to and respect to the craft to say, oh no, you are headmaster, you're the teacher, you're the principal, so I trust my child with you. But
they also have to do work at home as well.
It's reversing the polarity, Tracy. You're letting them know that, no, you have an expertise that we don't have.
Yes.
There's nuances about your child. There's nuances about your culture that we need to get more acquainted with.
Yes.
Right? So that's what it really is, more than anything.
The importance of a at-home library too, like getting books and just summertime.
So this is what I'll say, Tracy, and this is a lot of what my research has been, is recognizing the library that already exists. So
if you don't have it at home, go to the actual.
Well, no, I'm talking about at home. They already have it, even though it may not be deemed traditional. So for example, that record collection. Okay.
Yes.
That Bible, that Quran, that Torah, any spiritual scripture, right? That's there. Listen, the ingredients that's in the cabinet. Okay.
Yes.
So that cooking.
Yeah.
Understand that's a classroom.
Yes.
listen, so the ingredients is the library. They're pulling out a text so they could chef up a lesson for you. So they could teach you, they could tell a story through teaching, through cooking.
Yeah.
So there's and again, indigenous and African families, we come from oral traditions. So those stories that our families have. So we have language, we have literacy, we have so many things inherent in the way we already live, or how we already boogie, right? It's already there. So when we talk about this idea of culturally sustaining teaching, it's, these stories, this learning that emanates from children and their families. So a conversation may even begin in a classroom, but then it goes back home and is extended. And then the kids come back and say, oh my God, we're talking about Salia Cruz and Tita Puente. Abuelo was so excited. And, I was able to show him the book and they were able to connect. So some of it is traditional, literature, and some of it is that
culture.
It's this cultural dialectic.
And you know what we say, stories spark transformation.
Absolutely, every time.
Yes. Okay. So from the music industry to elementary education, both are about creating hits, just different kinds. What's the one hit you're most proud of creating in a child's life that no one else knows about?
That no one else knows about. I would say there's a few that are unknown.
Okay.
There's been a couple of early childhood authors that have written books. And it seems like they all start around the same age. It's either kindergarten or first grade where they become published authors. Malia is one that's more recent. And then Valencia Hopkins was one that was early in my career. And Valencia just graduated Columbia University. And then she's off to grad school now.
Nice.
She was class of 25.
Okay.
So, and then Malia is now just going into second grade now. So it's those two. And then I would also say those students who are learning multiple languages, but they also have individualized educational plans through the Committee of Special Education. So though they have a learning difference, they're still able to learn multiple languages at their own time and rate and space. And what they're able to accomplish is astonishing and amazing. And seeing the light and the glow of their families and how proud they are that their child gets to learn an additional language despite some of the challenges they may have. Because again, we look at multiple language learning in Uniondale and particularly in Northern Parkway as a human right, not enrichment. It's not, you're not special like you're a bright kid because no. It is your human right to learn as many languages as you desire, no matter how long it takes you. Because we are really preparing our children to be international, global citizens, right?
I love it.
And because many of them are also what I call cosmopolitan intellectuals because they're always traveling. Many of our families go back home for extended vacations sometimes, and because they're so used to that travel, they have so many more stories to tell.
Right.
So this is just adds to it. So those are some of the hits I would say that I'm really proud of, along with being multiple debate champions and spelling bees and mathletes. How can I forget about mathletes? Is another one that we flourish in. So
I love that. I love that. If teenage Bilal could see Dr. Bilal now, what would surprise him most about the man that you've become?
I would say The friendships, I would say the ideas, the belief systems. I would say just really being astonished and proud of the level of alignment. Like, wow, there's been immense enhancements, but there's so many things that are still very similar. Like, to the point where, the things that I was writing in my journal then, I could look back now and say, oh, that's been either accomplished or I need to get back onto that.
Right.
Not that, oh my God, what was I thinking?
But it's still stuff that you desire today.
Yes. It's that's the thing that I could say in terms of my growth and development and identity that I'm proud of is that, for the most part, it's aligned now. There's been a tremendous amount of growth. Like, of course, there's been ideas and concepts, certain things that I've outgrown or to see very differently or had a very skewed view of it initially. And like, oh, now I have a much more expansive view of it now.
Right.
Like, it doesn't actually mean that. It means this and it's more broader. But for the most part, I think that would be the part that I would be the most astonished. Like, wow, really? When, I'm 110 years old, I still think like this.
Yes.
And let me tell you something. I joke about this whole idea of living to 120. When I was in Ghana, one of the guys there, the traveling guides, his name is Gideon.
Is he 120?
No, listen. Okay. No, Gideon's in his 30s. But he had a chance to introduce Roderick Peele, one of my classroom teachers, and I, who was on the trip with me, to his great-grandfather, who's 135.
No.
Yeah. Osei Kojo is his name, 135.
Wow.
Has all his faculties so clear. His vision is dissipating a smidge. But man, it was unbelievable. 100. That's one of the pictures that I'm going to share with you.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait to see it.
So I always joke about, don't live to be 120.
Right.
That's a real thing.
Right. Oh my God. I love that. Okay. Hopefully I'll be right by your side. Okay. So I have one more question, but I did want to ask before we do the last one, if there were any principals watching, would there be, what kind of advice or any tips or tricks, or if there was anything that you would say directly to them?
Well, I would say to my principal comrades, just like, salute to all of you, because we all are doing the real work together. And I would also say that whatever has been your lifelong passion, just remember to include that in your practice. And I'm sure that you are, but just a reminder that continue and highlight and enhance that, because that's what makes you you. And that's what makes you important.
And also leading by example, because I'm sure that when the students see you accomplishing things, it just makes them feel even proud of you and showing them that they can do things too.
Yeah, they definitely express that they're proud and they love their principal. But it's really so. One thing I have to say, Tracy, that's really important to me about leadership and being a principal is that it's always been my goal to humanize the role. This whole deification and Superman and I'm an administrator and I go back.
Separate.
I go back to the record company, and I always tell everybody, it's like, can you imagine a record company without music? And it's like, no. I said, who makes the music? The artist.
The artist.
Right. So it's not the executive who owns and runs it. It's those teachers, there's children, the families that are the center. So it's really not about me. It's about all of them. So it's about humanizing this role. It's just a role. So yes, I'm the principal, and there's going to be decisions I'm going to make, and it's going to be things that, folks going to have to follow. But that's just the role, because that's just the role of where I am. But I'm no better. Everyone is just, or I would even, argue more important than my role. So it's to humanize it and to take away this whole superhero concept that, and also to take the pressure off of people of embracing. I don't like to call them mistakes. I call them miscues. There's going to be times when we trip, and I'm going to leave you with this or add to it. Is one of the things that I will say about my staff, right, in my relation to them. I'm never afraid or embarrassed to trip in front of them. You know why? Because they know I could dance.
Okay. And you'll get right back up.
But no, the thing about it is they know he's a dancer. So if he tripped, that was just a miscue.
Right.
Like, there's nothing wrong with his gait. He know how to walk because that fool could dance.
Yeah.
So if I trip in front of them, they're like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because they know I'm an intrinsic, natural mover, right? That is a human. And I just happen to trip, but I'm not embarrassed because y'all know I could dance. So
right. And it goes back to what we said earlier, you're a servant leader.
Absolutely. Yes.
So you know that we end each episode with a quote.
Right.
Right? What's one that has guided you as a teacher, leader, or human?
So I told you that I had 3 that I was swirling around with, and based on the direction of this conversation, I would decide. So let me get to my phone. Let me see.
Grab your phone. Go ahead and grab it.
And let me see which one. I'm gonna go with the Juhi Chawla, who's an Indian actress, right?
Okay.
She had this thing about power that I want to really share with you. It said, there's an amazing power getting to know your inner self and learning how to use it and not fight with the world. If you know what makes you happy, your personality, interests, and capabilities, just use them and everything else flows beautifully.
Okay, say that one more time. Just a little bit slower, a little bit louder.
Yes. I'm definitely going to say it again.
Yes.
This is one of those repeatable quotes. There is an amazing power getting to know your inner self and learning how to use it and not fight with the world. If you know what makes you happy, your personality, interest, and capabilities, just use them and everything else flows beautifully.
I love that. Everything will fall into place. That is amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. I mean,
thank you for having me.
And dropping all the gems.
Well,
I love it.
You're my sister. You make it easy to have a conversation with. And thank you.
And thank you for being part of the collective, and keep breaking through because we are just getting started.